Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Just had another little thunderstorm. We were kind of in the middle of the two. There was a big cell and a big cell, and we were right in the middle. So we didn't get a whole lot. We got a decent rain shower, something that's a good amount of rain. Nothing too much, nothing that's too little, good amount. But just as it was wrapping up, we lost power. So we're currently without power, but don't worry, because this is just training for us. It's nothing to worry about. In fact, you should all occasionally, I would advise at least once a month, turn your power off for the day and see how well you exist. Can you cook? Can you do things without the power? I would highly recommend that. It's something that I've done for years. On occasion, go in there and flip the breaker for the house. Maybe leave the refrigerator on so that you don't lose all the food in it, but have a rule that they can't go get stuff out of the refrigerator. Refrigerator's off limits. If you want, you can even tape it closed or put a lock on it. That's something I would advise you to do. Anyways, I want to talk about something that it's because I want to talk about it. In fact, I'm probably going to make some people mad. In fact, I may even lose listeners over this, but don't care, because I think that this is a very important thing. No, it's not your standard prepping or conspiracy or war or whatever, but it's at the very heart of why folks like yourself and me are doing the things that we're doing, trying to preserve the moral, biblical truths and traditions that we've always held that they are the right way. And we're watching not just wars potentially happen. We're not just watching food become more scarce and the price go up. We're not just watching the next pandemic and all this. We are watching our way of life that is based in biblical truths be destroyed every day. And so a big part of the reason why we prepare here is to prepare against that and to build a home and a family and raise up children that aren't part of that. And so the subject that I want to talk about today might step on some of your toes, because I believe personally that even though you might say, well, this isn't a prepper kind of topic, I would argue that it is, because it's absolutely destroying the truths and the beliefs and the way of life that we've always believed. And there is a disease, I believe, a disease out there that is running amok amongst conservatives, even Christian conservatives, even Bible-believing conservatives, that they maybe it's because there's this absence of leadership, and so that anything that kind of sounds good, they kind of follow it. The problem is when you follow evil, no matter how good it sounds, it ends up just still being evil. There's a man that I'm not going to name his name. You're all going to probably figure out who it is. He's very widely popular. He's worth millions and millions of dollars. He has a massive following online, even amongst conservatives and even amongst conservative Christians. This man is very self-absorbed. He says a lot of things that you probably would agree with. If you sat and listened to him long enough, you'd probably say, yeah, that's right. I agree with that. He talks about being a man, talks about being masculine. He talks about being a traditional man in this modern world and how all the feminists are trying to destroy it. He gives all kinds of advice. He really likes to puff up his ego. And because so much of the stuff, or at least part of the stuff he says, does line up with what a lot of conservative and Christians think, they tend to listen to him and say, yeah, I may not always agree with him, but I like this part. And so they share his stuff and they lift him up and they talk about him. And they believe that, well, they make excuses. He was playing people. He was trolling people when he said that. This man, he's now being charged with some criminal charges involved in sex trafficking. And so I'm starting to see a lot of conservative Christians come out to defend him also, because, well, you don't know the full story, or that's not how it is. And they're trying to say that he's not that bad, that he's not a criminal, that he's not running all this trafficking stuff, and that he's being accused of. And all the while they're ignoring the big elephant in the room, that maybe he is, maybe he isn't guilty of some criminal conspiracy. But what he obviously and blatantly is guilty of is presenting a very wicked and immoral lifestyle. Just absolutely disgusting, the stuff that he does, the stuff that he talks about, the stuff that he promotes. And yet still men, and conservative men, and Christian conservative men tend to follow this guy. And I just felt that I needed to take a moment and use what little bit of an audience that I have and speak out against this. I think it's disgusting what he does. I think it's disgusting what he stands for. And I think that any man, regardless of how conservative they say they are, or how Christian or how Bible believing they say they are, that gives this man any sort of a platform, should really pause and take a look and examine themselves in the mirror. Because I would strongly question their motives, regardless of what you can say. You know, I guarantee you that you and I could probably sit and listen to everything that Joe Biden's ever said, and we could probably find things that we would agree with. Probably even Hillary Clinton. You know, so just because someone is saying something that you agree with, it doesn't mean that there's someone to follow, that there's someone to look up to, or someone to spread their message about. And it does you and your witness, because that's way more important than anything about you. Your witness to others is being damaged and destroyed because you sit here and you talk positively about this guy that openly brags about the most lascivious and immoral behaviors when it comes to himself and women, and how he treats them and what he does with them. It's awful. Pornography is bad. It's wrong. It's sinful. If you don't agree with that, I don't care. It is. It's wrong. This kind of, the sexual promiscuity with everyone and everything and as many as you want, it's wrong. It's immoral. It's unbiblical. It goes against how God created us to be. And it's in the treatment of women in this way. This idea that a man has to just only be this loud, self-absorbed, boisterous monster, this man that goes around bragging about how tough he is, and only that is wrong. It's not true. A man needs to be well balanced. In fact, I would argue that it's harder to be a man than a woman because of that. A woman can be accepted and okay of just being one way. A man, to be a truly good man, has to be balanced, has to be able to be tough and violent, capable of aggression, capable of being evil and doing evil, but also capable of controlling that, capable of reining that back in and being compassionate and loving and sensitive and understanding. And so in today's world, it just seems like that the only kind of man that is acceptable is either the weak, feminized, emasculated man, or the disgusting, brutish, egocentric, self-absorbed, hypersexualized man. And I'm telling you, it's not that way. And conservatives and Christians, you shouldn't be. I think it's wrong. I think it's disgusting. And I want to make it clear that you're not going to see this platform, this channel, supporting that kind of stuff. I don't care how much he says that's really intelligent. I don't care how much he says that he's dead right on about. There are other sources out there. I don't want my name and what I do attached to that. And folks that are listening to someone that does attach their name to someone like that, or anyone else that may act and behave that way, I would question it. You know, I've been very careful and cautious about this channel of being connected to certain people. There have been opportunities arise that I could have had very popular names on this channel as for an interview that very possibly could have, increased my view count and all that kind of stuff. But I chose not to because while some of the stuff they did I agree with, there was a big portion of it that I didn't, and I didn't want to attach my name to that. We as believers, especially men, We have to draw the line. We have to have standards. We can't say, well, everyone is hyper feminized, sissies, gay this, gay that. At least this guy isn't that. He's talking about being a tough guy and being a strong masculine figure. Yeah, okay, so he's into all the porn, he's into all the drugs, he's into the sex, he has a vulgar mouth. He does all this other stuff. He's completely ungodly in so many other ways. But, he's got really this part down. And so, we've got to... No, we don't. We need to stand behind men that are actually showcasing what a real man is. And I'm sorry, but this dude is not that. There are men out there. There are people that are popular online that put out really good content if you want to get behind one of them and support them. But I'm telling you, this guy, it's disgusting. And over the last few days, I have seen far, far too many people, even people that I kind of liked, I liked watching their content, have come out and kind of supported or defended him. And I'm telling you, it's disgusting. Did he commit a crime? I don't know. But honestly, that's not even the thing that we should really be arguing about. We should be arguing about why are conservatives, why are Christians, why are good moral men following someone that lives a completely immoral life openly and boasts about it and mocks everyone for not doing it. It's disgusting. We shouldn't allow that kind of person in our ranks. And we shouldn't support it or follow that or lift it up or give it any kind of light. It's time for men to stand up and be men. Not just be boisterous, vulgar, brutish men, but to also be honorable, loyal, moral, decent, conservative, and compassionate men. That's what we need to be. Being a man and being the head of your home and being a husband isn't just how tough you can be around your wife. It's also how loving you can be around your wife. How often you can actually sit and listen to her and be understanding and offer some emotional empathy with her. Being a man isn't just being tough with your kids to make them tough little children. Being a man is also taking the time to spend with your children. To spend with them and show your daughters what a good man is. Not just that he's tough, but that he's also loving and compassionate, so that when she grows up and looks for a man, she's not getting a guy that's just rude and brutish. She's also getting a man that takes care of her and isn't abusive and that loves her. Same way with your sons. Show your sons how to treat your wife, how they should treat their wives. And if you're only just brutish and tough and looks down and degrades her and talks about her like she's a piece of meat, then that's what they're going to do with their wives. It's time for men to stand up. I've said this for a long time, and I'll say it again. I believe the biggest problem, the biggest reason our society is in such degradation, and that why we are collapsing the way that we are, not just militarily and politically and economically and all these other things, but morally. We are morally collapsing as a people. And we're morally collapsing as a people because men stop standing up against evil. Men stopped saying, this is not allowed in my home. This isn't allowed in my church. This isn't allowed in my community. This isn't allowed in my school. This isn't allowed in my nation. This isn't allowed on our TV. This isn't allowed on our radio. Men stopped doing that. They started giving up. They allowed too much. They allowed sin. Sin, it's a disease. It consumes. It's like a yeast. It's like you allow it in and it completely destroys the bread. A little bit of leavening and it spreads throughout the whole loaf. And that's what sin is. And we allowed it into our lives and our families and our communities and our world, our society for too long. Little at a time, making excuses. Instead of standing up and being the watchman on a wall and saying, we're not allowing this garbage in our lives. And now we're at a place where we have people like this that profess to be conservative, profess to be, right-leaning. They profess to even be some kind of godliness, believers of some sort. And we're allowing that. It's disgusting, and men need to stand up and not allow this garbage in their home, in their lives, and in your minds. I don't care how much you like something, how much you agree with so much of it. If it is sin, it's sin. And we should run from it. We should flee from sin. We shouldn't just kind of hang around it and say, well, I like part of it. Part of it's not bad. The Bible tells us to flee from sin. And this and many other things like it, we should flee from. And we should take a stand in our home and in our communities and say, we're not allowing this. I don't care if it's unpopular. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if people end up hating me. It doesn't matter. It's our job. It's our job, our duty as men, as warriors, as watchmen, is to stand guard and keep the evil away. And we've not been doing that for a long time. It's time we step up, men. It's time we become watchmen. It's time we keep the evil out, not just our homes, but our own minds. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.